Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're going to start very, very soon. Hello, Daniel. Hello, Christopher. I'm Coolserman. Hobbits are fantasy space music. Hello, Pinball Rob. Retro Gaming with Hopper. All right. Kyle says, let's do this. Hi, Daniel, again. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 80 of PinTech Live.
80?
We are starting 80. 80. It's
I thought
amazing,
we were
right?
like in the triple digits.
Oh, yeah. It's
Oh.
episode 80.
Whatever, sorry.
Well, we're starting with a new segment. As you can see, we have here next to us Aaron Hoyland. He's the director of sales. This is our Meet the Marco team segment because we have such an awesome, huge team now at Marco, and we want to make sure that you see all these faces, learn about all the people that are making sure we get pinball parts into our games. And, you know, when they come out to shows, you'll be able to recognize them and say hi. So everyone say hi to Aaron.
Hi, Aaron.
Hi, everybody.
So thanks for joining us, Aaron. You're the first one, so you're our guinea pig.
Yeah, I'm the first victim.
No pressure.
You are the first victim.
Perfect.
Merry Christmas, Pinball Gramps.
Woo.
All right, so Aaron, let's start off. Tell us how long you've been working at Marco and and kind of what you do in the company.
I started working at Marco in the middle of 2020. Started in the CSR department, and then created the sales department. So now I run the sales department.
Awesome.
Make and you
Very
shall
cool.
run. That's pretty good. Create your own little kingdom, you know?
Yeah. I get my own little corner of the building. Make my own rules.
Corner's like this big.
Yeah, my corner is very small, but I do have a nice corner. I have an ottoman in my corner, which makes it cozy and homey.
It really is.
Yeah.
Awesome. So one thing that everyone international that's watching right now needs to thank this guy right here for making those shipping costs reduced a lot lower. Everything international sales Aaron has been doing in the past year, almost 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about where you're at with that and if there's any plans for growth and stuff?
Yeah, so we officially revamped that whole program. I mean, we had been shipping internationally for a while, but we revamped it in late 2020, a couple months after I arrived, and then I got pulled onto that team, and then I got put in charge of that team. So I've been constantly adjusting the rates and all the magic that goes on behind the scenes to keep the prices as low as possible. And FedEx is my best friend, and I'm their best friend, and hopefully they're your best friend. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Pinball Rob in the chat says Canada thanks you. And when I went to Indisc this past weekend, pretty much everyone from Canada came up to us and thanked us for the rates that you've been able to give them.
So we recently got some data from Zonos, who handles our international shipments, and we have really it's conversion data, but the important part of this is it shows us how many landings that hit from different countries. And Canada is like off the charts. They're our number one hit. They love the website. They hit the website. They buy stuff. It's off the charts. So we must be doing something right. And we're happy to support Canada as our next door neighbors of pinball. So.
Yay, Canada. Awesome.
Thank you, Canada.
So, Aaron, what did you do before joining Team Marco? How did you get all this knowledge in your brain?
Worked at a flooring company, which is completely unrelated to this industry. I ran the warranty and QC team for a commercial flooring company in South Carolina, and I ran the field team. So it was a little different having an office after not having an office, but I definitely would not go back to do flooring after I've been here. So
awesome. Going off that, like, how did you find Marco Pinball, and were you into pinball before?
Corona kind of killed the industry I was in for a little bit, just for product shortages. So everybody got put on furlough. And so I started looking for a job, and I was like, hey, I've done customer service work before, and that's what they were hiring for. So I got into doing customer service work, got on board, and they started giving me departments and responsibilities and all that other stuff. So it's been a struggle to get up to speed with people who have been in the industry for 20, 30, 40 years. It's been probably the hardest part of the job is not looking like an idiot when I talk to people who clearly know more than I do, and have been in the industry more than I have. So I try. That's probably, I fake it, or I've faked it till I made it. So
always.
And now you just love pinball so much, right?
Yeah, I'm all about it. It's it does take up a large portion of my life now, so.
Do you have a favorite pinball machine yet?
I do, actually. My favorite pinball machine is No Fear.
Good choice.
Ah.
Yeah.
Why No Fear?
It reminds me of my childhood full of Mountain Dew and Doritos and sick skateboard tricks.
Yeah,
and
having those stickers and not knowing what that company actually was and stuff. Right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I didn't wear Jinko jeans, but I was around people who did, and that's all kind of the same vibe and energy as No Fear. So, I like it.
Good choice.
Yeah. And it's a fun game. Despite the theme is great, but the gameplay is fun too. So.
Yeah, I love that game. Yeah, they have one actually right up the street from me. I play it a lot. Awesome. So outside of pinball, what are your hobbies, Aaron? How do we get to hang out with you when we're not working?
I probably, so I have been involved in bonsai trees as a hobby for 18 years now, since like 2004, 2003, 2004, somewhere in that range. And I have a tree that I've had, well, I have a couple trees that I've had that long, and I have not killed them yet. And now I have 30 plus trees beyond those first two. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, rules.
I tried to do one bonsai plant and I could not keep it alive. There's lots that goes into keeping those things alive.
Yeah, it's a skill, but we'll get you one and I'll teach you how to do it. No problem.
Yeah, I know, that would be awesome. Very cool. If anyone has any questions for Aaron in the chat, feel free to drop them in too. But Aaron, tell us, this is 2022. Do you have any big personal goals for Marco?
So we're still going to be expanding the international program. I'm still fiddling with the numbers and, twiddling the knobs and changing the dials to make it as cheap as I can for everybody. International shipping is expensive, but we want to get you your parts, and we don't want to have to give you pain when you want your parts. So we're trying our best, trying my best. We have a good FedEx rep that he tries his best, and he loves us. When he hears our business model and that we do pinball parts, he's like, yeah, we'll take care of you. we get the little white glove treatment from FedEx, and we get the same white glove treatment from Zonos, who actually handles our international shipments. We're one of the founding members of Zonos, or founding companies that they started with, and when we call up, they pick up. So they just based on the industry we're in. So we get a little helping hand everywhere we go, just because everybody loves us. So it's kind of nice.
That's awesome.
That too, we want to expand out help for locations, which is very important for me as well. I'm not all about international. International was a focus, but now I'm starting to get a little more bandwidth to pivot back to domestic, to where we can support locations domestically, locations, technicians, all that sort of stuff. Because that ultimately is what keeps machines from going into the dumpster, and the landfill is the technician that fixes them, and the location that keeps them around and makes people love pinball. Okay. So, yep. So the more I can give help to those sorts of customers and discounts and promo help, the better. And I like to do that. So if you're one of those people and I don't already help you, contact me and I will help you.
How do they get in touch with you?
They can call our phone number directly. They can contact sales, or they can contact me directly at my email, which is ahoyland@marcospec.com or marcopinball.com. If you're a location or if you're a technician and you do business with me and I don't help you, contact me. If you don't do business with me, I want to figure out why you don't do business with me, and I would like to help you. So please contact me, because I would like to help. They give me a lot of rope and a lot of money to help a lot of people. Just between you and me, they're like, hey, go make some magic, and I get to make magic.
Contact this guy. Contact him.
I get rope to make magic happen. So, but I can't make it if you don't contact me. So.
Very cool. That's awesome. So I see in the chat, the import tax has always been an issue. Do you want to talk a little bit about how that works and what we can do and can't do with that?
Yeah, so import tax, a lot of that is based on your country, right? So some countries have really decent import tax to where they have a higher de minimis, and the de minimis is a fancy way of saying the highest point of your dollar value of your order before the government cares about your order. So in Australia, it's $600 or $700. You cross that, then the government wants their cut. If you stay under that, then you get to ship your order for free. Mm-hmm. In places like Canada, it's different because they have it broken down per province. So each province has a different limit. Wow. There's not much, and this is broken down per country. Different countries have different limits. A lot of times for certain countries too, you can kind of skirt it by, if let's say you got $1,000 order and you want to send it to Australia, you can break it into two $500 orders and you won't have to pay duties and taxes because you don't ever go over the $700 limit. So that's a very common strategy. Find out what your country's de minimis is. don't go over it, and you won't have to pay taxes. Now in European countries, it's different because they've just changed the laws now. They charge taxes if it's a $5 order. So there's no way to really skirt it. The rate is what it is. I put efforts into the countries with more problematic VAT and tax situations. I try to get the FedEx rates. Those are the ones I focus on, getting FedEx to be the most lenient with as far as rates go. Because if I can offset the duties and taxes with a cheaper shipping rate, that is about the most help I can get, short of, talking to your local politician to change the VAT. I don't, as much as I say I have pull, I don't have that much pull. So.
Yeah.
That would be definitely going above and beyond. Yeah, you have to talk to the Prime Minister in Australia.
Yeah. Hey, let's get this changed. I want to import my parts. Let's talk about it.
We need more pinball in these countries.
Yeah.
Awesome. Besides Canada and Australia, what are some of the really big pinball countries that you see? So
it's funny because the data, I just got rock solid data from Zonos regarding this. So it's the top 5 were Canada, Australia, France, Italy, and then the 5th one was Great Britain. So those are the top 5 that we hit. There's surprising ones that some of the countries that stuck out as surprising for landings was Singapore was a surprising one. We get a lot of landings and sales from Singapore. Cyprus is one that always surprises me. I do a lot of business with Cyprus, a lot of landings with them. Those are kind of the stick out ones that one of the things that I want to actually put into effort to this year, and I have to talk to the big bosses, is we get a lot of landings from Spain, but we don't sell a lot to Spain. And I think that's because a lot of that is the local manufacturer, which we don't really have a lot of associations and parts for. So I got to figure out how we're going to get that figured out. So we're working on it.
I think you need to do a business trip to Cyprus to go check out.
So one of my guys like, yeah, come on over. And I told him, I was like, but if I come over, I might not leave. We might have to start up another like Marco Mediterranean or something like that.
We'll have to bring Marco TV with that trip too, so we can document your journey.
Yeah. I might not.
You ready, Kyle? Ready to go to Cyprus?
Very much so. I'll make sure I pack my bags and all my cats because I'm not leaving either.
Yeah, we're just gonna stay. We'll set up Marco Mediterranean. It'll be fine.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Aaron. Kyle, do you have any random questions for Aaron before we let him go and get back to work?
When are we gonna play Deep Rock Galactic again?
Tonight, if you want to.
For Rock and Stone. Really? I'm totally down to play.
Yeah. Perfect.
Deep Rock tonight.
I'm down too, so let's
really
make it happen.
At this game.
We'll do it.
Go poke Dom on the shoulder and make him do it too.
I will. Okay. As soon as I leave here, he's about 12 feet around the corner, so I'll go get him.
Nice. Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you, Aaron. We'll let you get back, and we appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, man.
All right. See ya. Yeah. All right, y'all. I'm going back to the holding screen for a quick second. Okay, so I shouldn't restart. You guys are good? Let's come back here. All right, I'm going to come to the main one. Okay. Oh, look, it's your arm. Look at that cool tattoo.
When it pains, it roars. We're fine now.
We're fine now?
I think
I'm so sorry you guys on Twitch missed that first part. We're going to cut that and put it as its own little highlight too, so we have it. For those that were on Facebook and YouTube, thanks for hanging out with us too. That was awesome that Aaron came onto the show.
Thank you.
He's been doing so much for sales and stuff. How long has Kyle been with Marco? Oh, yeah, so now we have to meet the Marco team with Kyle.
No,
Kyle,
y'all know who I am. It's fine.
Your camera is so, I feel like we're going to fall off your desk.
Why?
This way.
Wait, where is it? You want this view?
No, not your... The Sony cam.
Want to see my...
It's nice. You can go ahead and pan it back to planets. So, everyone, episode 80, we are starting on planets. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of this game before. Maybe you've heard of William's Zodiac. And this looks very familiar to Zodiac, right? So, planets is the rare version of Zodiac. And Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they just made a limited run of planets for New York.
Yeah.
Is what I read on IPDB, which makes sense because little short story with this game. This was a rare find by Mark and Nancy, Mark Mandeltort, the founder of Marco Pinball. And they actually played this game together in college. So that was like their first dates were playing planets and up in New York City. So when they found this super rare game, there's probably only what, like a dozen planets? I don't know. Mark was saying, Mark was saying that there's a very good chance that this actual planets was the one, like the physical one they played in college, which I think is so awesome and beautiful. So we wanted to get this game up and running again so Nancy can play it and, you know, we can enjoy how special this game is for everyone here.
Yeah.
For our Marco family. Yeah, it's so awesome. I think we're going to work on this game for a little bit. Not this episode, but in a few episodes or so, I'll play this cool behind the scenes video I had of Mark. One day he was showing me around the studio and we came up and looked at planets because it had just gotten there. And he kind of gave me a nice story about the origin behind planets. And then we opened up the back of the back box and looked at all the old like stepper units and stuff. And he was talking about the parts and everything. It was a really cool thing to capture. And I wish I captured more, to be honest, but we'll watch that video together at some point.
Yeah,
but
I'd like to see that as well.
Yeah, I just came across it the other day and I was like, oh man, I have to show.
This game is it's not special in the fact that it's like different. It's only different for like legal reasons. So New York had some very restrictive amusement laws, and what this game was it was a loophole in New York's amusement law, like as in the way it was written. So I think a lot of people are probably familiar with Adiball games. So there are a lot of jurisdictions that would not allow coin-operated devices to reward the player with something that like could be tied to a monetary value. So in the eyes of the law, if you paid a dime to play pinball and through playing the game somehow you were awarded a free game, that was essentially awarding someone 10 cents. And so in the eyes of the law, that made the pinball device a gambling device.
I got it.
Pinball and bingo have always been intertwined. And when I say bingo, I don't just mean flipperless games. I mean like, games with holes on the playfield and lining up numbers and stuff like that. So they've always kind of shared a bad relationship with each other, where in the eyes of the law, a game that had a ball, it was a gambling device, because traditionally a lot of bingo games would be played in the way where you would get your odds just right, you would score a certain line, and the game would then rack up 20, 40, 50 replays, right? And of course, you're not going to sit there and play the game 50 times, but it was a weird loophole, again, to get around gambling laws. The game would rack up 50 credits. You'd show the barman would come and pay you for 50 credits, and then he'd knock all those credits off, and then someone could come in and play the game again. So bingo has always been associated very closely with flipper games, whether they should or not. So that is why there are some really weird laws surrounding replay and Adiball. In Adiball games, when you reach a certain criteria, you'll be awarded another ball to play. So you'll see a lot of Gottlieb games from the 60s would have the replay versions of the games instead of like a counter counting up saying, okay, you're on ball 1, you're on ball 2, you're on ball 3, it would start at 5, and you would have a saying on the back box that would say how many balls to play. Because you could, on your first ball, award another ball. Now you have 6 balls to play, right? And it would step down. Anyways, I think New York somehow also wrote, and I think this was just New York City, not the state of New York, which makes it even more interesting, where New York City had a law that would defeat that add-a-ball rule, which then prompted Williams to make some interesting games that were specific only to New York City. And this game is not an add-a-ball game. It's not a replay game. It's a nothing game. You put money in, you play it, and it doesn't matter how good you do, you get nothing. So that is the strangeness behind this game. A lot of these things are very undocumented. I mean, I think like according to the leftover files from Williams, etc., they made less than 100 of these things, right? And what, 50 years on, I mean, I bet there is at least, you've probably lost at least a couple dozen of them, so there may only be 30, 40, less than 30 of these things still in existence, right?
We got one. Also, I noticed on IPDB, they say if you have a planet, to contact them.
Yeah, I've already sent Jay a bunch of pictures. I've been working with him for a couple weeks to get him all the pictures he wants, so.
That's awesome.
It's
So do you know like the difference between planets and Zodiac?
There's no difference other than the back glass does not have a credit window. So this game, curiously, it still has a credit unit in the back box, but there is no cutout to show the credits that would be on the game. So if you look on the Zodiac back glass, if you look at the yellow planet on the left side of the glass, and then you go right towards the bottom angle of the Z, you'll see that there's a little white square. So that would be where your remaining credits are. Or not remaining credits, but how many credits you have to go. Most electromechanical games, when you put a coin in, they start. And then you can win credits. You can't add credits multiple times. If you see on planets, they screened over that, so there's no window. And I don't know how it works in the schematic. I actually want to sit down and study the Zodiac and the planet schematic next to each other to see what it is. I figured what they would do is they would have just disabled the credit unit somehow, but it's still there. It has both coils, a step up, a step down. It still has all the wiring related to it. But I see that from a sense of manufacturing where they made these Zodiac and planets. They made a bunch of Zodiacs and they converted them to planets. So probably what the difference is there is lack of wiring inside the cabinet to trigger the credit unit. So this head could have gone to a Zodiac. It was ready to go to a Zodiac until they put a planet's back glass in it, and all the circuitry to control the player or the replay unit is most likely just non-existent in the bottom board, which is inside the cabinet. There's the really well-documented side of Williams making strange games is Skylab and Spacelab. I think they made like 3 versions of that game, but there are these very, very rare, I think they called them Spacelab was the uncommon one. And people have found enough of them to document via their serial numbers how they created these on-the-line prototype style games. I find it very fascinating. I'm sure I'm boring most of you, I'm sorry, but I think it's
No, that is really interesting. While you were talking, I was looking at the flyers and seeing what the difference was. But can you see it, Kyle? You see where it says planets down at the bottom? It looks like, I don't know how they made graphics back then, but it looks like they used purple marker to Sharpie over where it says Zodiac so they could paste planets back in and tried to color match it.
Because again, it's like, look, there's a lot of people in New York City, but you're selling to a really small market. Zodiac is a pretty common game.
Otherwise, it's like just the same, yeah.
Yeah, you see them all over the place, but why spend a bunch of time to market a game that you're only going to sell a few of? So,
So they literally just changed it for New York City laws.
Yep.
Wow.
They called it something different, and they changed the functionality of the game. I don't know where, I don't like really know Add-a-Ball areas, but I know that like lots of the northeastern United States were they had Add-a-Ball laws. A lot of portions of the Midwest also were Add-a-Ball games, but the Add-a-Ball games were essentially the same thing though, right? The only difference would be the back glass and then some of the circuitry and mechanics inside the game to make them run on a balls to play instead of a ball in play manner. But yeah, and I know that, I mean, there's companies also would do things for separate markets too. Like I know that there was a lot of European games made specifically for Italy that would be made to work with some of their more archaic coin-operated laws that were similar to Add-a-Ball, but also without replays. So, but you can see, like, you know, to Williams, it was a big enough of a deal to try to get into that New York City market to make something silly like this, right? So, and of course, like most of you probably know the story of Roger Sharp going up in front of the New York City commissioner in 1976 to prove that pinball was mostly a game of skill as opposed to a game of chance and gambling. And in 1976, the laws were removed and pinball was legal again. So.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice little history of that.
Funny
awesome.
little history. So it's an interesting game.
Before we go to the game, I just wanted to ask one question. Curious, this action button, I'm gonna call it, at the top on this yellow thing, because you don't have it on the game because you have the game open to be worked on, but right here on the top apron, this button, like, what is that the start button?
No, it's the ball launch button.
What is that?
So it's just a panel where you would nail this to shoot the ball. So Williams made a few games in this cabinet to see. I mean, I'd imagine it was just to see if players would respond differently to something that they're not used to, and you know,
right, because
obviously
there's no plunger. I just realized that.
Obviously, it didn't work, and it wasn't a good idea, and they ditched it. But there were a few games that just used an action button. All this was here to do was to launch the ball. There's a kicker underneath the apron that just shoots the ball straight into the middle of the play field to put it in play. Now, Gottlieb did that a few times on a few games also. There were a few baseball games that used a center ball kicker as well. It was tried on a few games, and I think, I mean, it just, people like plunging the ball. It's exciting. You know, you start the game from the top down, and the goal is to try to keep the ball up. I know that there's also a few games that, I don't remember what they were. I'm pretty sure they're mostly all baseball-themed games, and I think Williams did them, but they weren't pitch-in bats. They were flipper games, but like they actually had a turret in the apron. So there would be a ball launcher that would move 15 to 25 degrees or 30 degrees or something, and there would be a little arrow, and you would slam that button, and it would shoot the ball in that direction. So, yeah.
Oh, like the Walking Dead cannon, or
yeah, but very small and between the flippers. So
nice. That's crazy. All right, well, let's take a look at this game.
Okay.
What do we have to do to get this game flipping?
A ton of work that I'm going to do off camera, but we will start looking at it. These Williams EMs are really easy. Here, let's use the boom camera if you want to put that on the big screen, so I can kind of just pan it around and we can take a look at the play field and then look at the back box and then underneath the play field as well. So it's a really simple game. I think this game was from like 1970.
71.
71, okay. So you've got this...
oh, I love the graphics of it showing like where the flippers are going. It's like it's mapped out on the playfield, the bottom flippers.
Is that in? Here, let me move this back a little. Yeah, it's kind of cute. I like those little bits of art that they put in.
Yay, Pinball Rob got some yapsicles.
Oh, hey, I think I might have seen your order the other day. I always look through orders for some of those products I like to keep an eye on. I saw you bought like 50 of them or something like that. So, anywho.
Sorry.
So, yeah, we've got 4 flippers. I think this game is based around a set of bonuses, right? So you've got these bonuses here, and I think what it does is when I've played a bunch of Zodiac, but
Can you tilt it up just a
smidge?
Oh, Colin Baxter said hydrate. I need to look at the Twitch thing more.
Steve needs to keep an eye on that.
And Obi did too.
There's like 5 of them here, man.
Like 20 times, actually.
Here, this counts for 5.
And then he commented in the chat. Thanks, Colin. Your emotes got my attention.
So you've got
Retro Gaming with Hopper said that was me for the order that you were looking at, I guess.
Oh, it was you. Yes, that was you. I'm sorry,
smidge,
not our Canadian friend. Anywho, so I think that there's 2 ways to advance the bonuses. You've got some targets at the back of the playfield. So you've got. Sorry, I'm trying to lower this microphone stand. It's not working.
Wait, I'm gonna totally cut you off. Can you put Yopsicles in this game?
No.
Oh.
We would need to use some
I'm just
different
excited
ones,
to install Yopsicles on everything. It's so cool.
Good. We've got a bunch of Bally games. You can come help me put them in all my games. So you've got these targets at the back of the playfield, and these targets will raise your value for your sun or your moon. So you've got Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune to raise sun, Venus, Mars, and Mercury to raise the moon. If you hit these rollover buttons in the center of the playfield here, that will change which side bonus that the spinner will advance. So you've got a spinner that's like similar to the units on like, God, what's that game called? Jive Time. I think Jive Time has one of these. Williams used this big platter spinner. I think Triple Action. A few games used a big spinner like this, but it's just got one rubber on this side and you nail it. And as that spins and hits the switch, it will raise these values. Now, you've also got the sun and the moon targets in the very back corners. And when you hit those, it will award your bonus. And there's a magnet that actually holds the ball on where the target is, which is kind of fun. So it's a very simple game. There's really not much to it.
Wow.
Let's run over to the back. There might be a little bit of fourth wall breaking, but we'll avoid as much as we can.
Oh God, everyone, close your eyes.
No, it's okay. No, don't, because it's super clean in here, and it's gorgeous because I spent hours with some of my other coworkers to clean it. So,
look at that beautiful stencil.
Let me arrange these lights in
this game is super wild.
Sorry.
John says, I have a $6 million man. How many are around? It's a rare game. How many $6 million mans are there?
I don't think it's as rare as you think it is. There was a pretty... That was the era where Bally couldn't make enough games to satisfy demand. So they bought everything. I think $6 Million Man was not a very well received game.
I put a link of
at the
IPD.
time, but it's a cool game. It uses 6 displays, so you can have 6 players. I think they only
10,000 units.
The next game to have 6-player gameplay was like Frankenstein, Baywatch, Maverick, and Batman Forever. So it took like 30-something years for them to go back to 6-player gameplay. Anyways, what we have back here is just a standard EM, 2-player EM.
Yeah, where's Cletus? Is Cletus in there? It looks
maybe
too clean for Cletus, actually.
No, this game's
very
filthy.
Clean back here.
Wait till you see under the
Really?
playfield. It's disgusting.
That looks nice. I mean, minus all the wires don't have color, but that's normal, right?
Well, it's normal for a game that doesn't have a back door on it for decades, yeah. But it's
What do you do in this case? Like when you're looking through schematics and you don't have colors to...
Nothing. You're screwed. You just have to...
No, don't say that.
Oh, that's the truth. There's really nothing you can do. You just have to...
Rewire it? Just follow it and rewire it? Would you do like, this is going to be all red? And
no, you just deal with it. There's really nothing you can do. It's so sad.
Entire wiring harness.
What normally you can do is, like if it's really bad, you can open up these like cut the
Yeah, thank you,
catgut
Rebel
and
Dog.
open it
Should
up
have
and
done.
see if you can find traces of color that might be inside. Because look at that, right?
I don't know. What are we looking at?
Sorry, this camera is so slow. If I open up the wiring harness, you can
Oh.
see like immediately they all have colors. So you can try to
Expose the
trace them back
colors.
to
The
figure
colors,
out
Duke.
what colors they used to be, but really there's nothing you can do. A common thing you see on these Williams games, I think when they were soldering a lot of these switches, they didn't use enough heat in the soldering iron. So you'll see this all the time. Whenever I work on these old Williamses of this era, is I come through a lot of these switch stacks and I just pull on the wires. And your goal, don't be a wimp about it. You want to break them because
No, I don't.
yes, you do. Because if you don't break them, you won't know what's broken when it actually breaks off. Here's another one over here. So that's something to look at. I think they didn't use enough flux, or
thanks
they
for
didn't
the
use enough
raid.
heat. And this is really
Yeah.
common on Williams games of this era. So anyways, let's do a general overview instead of like going into it. But here we have the credit unit still. So if we kind of zoom in this way, you can kind of see, you see the window? Yeah, no, I screwed it up.
Wait. Oh, yeah.
You can
Cool.
see the window where the credit display would be if it was a replay game.
Oh, so they're just blocking it with the back glass. So you could turn this into a Zodiac.
No,
want.
you'd need to figure out what
Oh.
they took out to do that with. Because again, though, I think it's from the convenience side of manufacturing because it would probably cost more money to have these made separately and remove these on the line than it would to just use them and then remove the circuitry from the rest of the game. So these are totally wired up. It has both coils. It will step up and down. I don't know. I need to look and see how it works, but that's what I'm assuming right now. But you know what? Here's actually a good sign. We've got this game that is in really rough shape, but we step around and mess with this stepper unit, and it steps very cleanly. We've got another stepper here. This one I can't read because the label is faded, but it steps pretty clean. It's not super bad. We still will service them and work on them to an extent, but like this one has really bent fingers. It's barely making contact with the correct rivet here. But actually that's good because that means that we have to do a lot less physical work, taking the game apart, cleaning, lubing, and then putting back together. Let's sample a score reel really quick. The Williams score reels are great. They don't go bad like the Gottlieb and Bally ones will, where they get gunked up really bad. These are generally pretty sturdy. I guess actually,
nice.
oh, hey, look at that. There we go. We got another one, another wire that broke off the end of stroke switch.
Oh, no. Can you tilt down for us?
Oh, yeah. Just
Me.
when this switch opens,
Broke it.
when the plunger on the score reel, oh, look at that. It's a totally broken switch, so I'll need to replace that one for sure. When this pulls in, it's supposed to break the contact of the switch, which then cuts the power to this coil. So if this isn't here, it will just stay on indefinitely and melt the coil.
That would not be good.
Nope. But it's basically the same thing as your flipper end of stroke switch, except for this cuts the power to the coil as opposed to turns it to a low voltage side. Let's
Yeah, so you want to pull on all the wires to find which ones have not
yeah,
good
I mean that's how
connections.
that's what I
Cold
do.
solder joints, as Kat says.
I don't personally subscribe to the touch everything on an EM to fix it while you're working on it school of fixing games, because I feel like you can cause more problems doing that than not. But I like to at least touch everything, not necessarily mess with it. I'm gonna use this score reel as an example because the ones that have the circuit boards on them can have a teeny bit more drag. But actually, wait, you know what? That's a totally melted coil. So no, it's not. What is going on here? Oh, it was just really sticky. But see how it steps nice and clean? We probably won't have a lot of work to do on a lot of these steppers, but we will still give them some attention. But that's the nice thing about Williams games of this vintage is that these steppers are Generally pretty hassle-free. But you see that switch down at the bottom here?
Right.
When it opens, it cuts juice to the coil or something. I don't remember how it exactly works in the schematic, but, or no, you know what it does? Is I think it cuts juice to the actual scoring relay or something like that. So yeah, anyways, we'll look at that. We'll mess with it once we get the game apart. But yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, I can already see. So I'm happy about that. We won't have tons and tons and tons of work to do on stepper units, but we kind of knew that because it's a Williams game. Let me untangle myself from power cords, and let's come around and look at the underside of the playfield.
Nice. What a cool game.
It's very unique. One of my favorite bits about it, actually, look at the back of the playfield. It always made me chuckle. It just
The back
ends.
of the playfield?
Yeah, there's just no back of the playfield, just ends.
Oh. Nice.
So you can just nail the targets in the back.
I was going to say, is it because of those targets that you have to hit?
Yeah. Which
Nice.
are also kind of a pain in the butt
Hello,
to adjust
old
those
school
targets
Jens.
because they're like, you know, they're back
Good to be
here.
back.
You can't really touch them. They're kind of a pain to mess with. But I've only had to do that once on a really, really rough Zodiac. This one is not nearly as rough as the game that I've worked on before. And this one, it looks kind of rough. You can see a lot of planking on the playfield. I am very nervous to start rubbing a rag on this thing, but we will just have to be super duper gentle as we try to clean up and get it juicy again. It's pretty clean, honestly. I think someone's probably actually done a bit of the cleaning already. Like, so we'll do some spot touching, and I'll probably just I'll disassemble it and coat it with wax. I'm going to try to get it really juicy with some nice Carnauba wax.
Nice.
The playfields are short and stubby on these turret games. So let's switch over to the handheld really quick. Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
So your fancy turret kicker thing.
Stand by.
I'm waiting for you. It's cool. So your turret kicker guy up here.
Oh, this is
hold on.
much better.
I gotta turn so you can't see our super sweet mural in the background. One day. Hey, that's a tier thing. If people tier up, we can give them a behind the scenes tour of the this wonderful building that we film in. So
It's a magical building.
this is a weird bracket because it's not like just a slingshot. It's a weird bracket, but it just has a slingshot armature on it. So when the coil pulls in, it just kicks the ball away. You've got a switch here to tell the game when the ball is in the out hole. And then I'm pretty sure, I'd assume that's an end of stroke switch sort of thing to tell. It's not like an end of stroke switch in the traditional sense of like cutting power or anything like that, but I think it tells whatever relay that fires this thing that like, hey, I've made my travel, you know, and it turns the relay off. Well, maybe I'm wrong, actually, because you've got two big yellow wires here. This actually might function as an actual end of stroke switch. When this thing pulls in and it breaks contact, it might kill the voltage to, you know, whatever activates this. So, otherwise, yeah, just old Williams flippers. We've got 4 of them. There's another one down here. We've got a few more steppers. This is okay, so we've got the Moon Advance and the Sun Advance down here. So these are going to basically be our bonus units. Every time we hit the spinner or one of those targets, it will step this up until we've achieved our maximum bonus, which then if you collect the bonus using that switch, the game will, ooh, that's gross. You got some nice vinyl tubing
What is
breaking
that?
down.
Oh no.
That's just sticky and gross, that's all. Then you would hit that target. The ball would be held on the magnet as the game would then start stepping down. your bonus. You've got this other coil here. Williams had these very elaborate stepper units. You'll
Can
see
you turn
this
on
like.
the ring light on the Razor? Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Just see a little bit more.
Actually, wait, hold on. I'm just going to bring the actual light I moved out of the way closer, and then.
Oh yeah, bring it back.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this beautiful lineup of games. Real quick, Kyle, a question from Kaz in the chat. Kaz says, I know not to use lube, but do you grease the wheels or anything on EM machines?
Yeah, well, kinda. We will do that. I might do a weekend stream here soon where I'm going to be working on a customer's game. I have a Gottlieb Surf Champ that someone brought me. And I'm going to need to service all 16 score reels, and I will show you. You'll see many times where we need to lube on score reels. For giggles, though, let's put the handheld back on, please. If we were really cleaning something like this up, I would apply a very, 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 very light coat of grease and lube over these contacts. And that just helps you reduce the amount of metal-on-metal friction to wear these rivets out, and it also helps these things slide a little bit nicer. So general rule of thumb is you never use lubes or greases on pinball games, but not always. So it's one of those rules with an asterisk, you know what I mean? In my opinion. Everyone else's opinion may vary, but this is my show, so that's why I'm saying it that way. The other thing you have is Williams had these super elaborate steppers for bonus units, especially. So you'll see these on games like also, just off the top of my head, like Argosy, Aztec, Grand Prix, because those are the ones I'm most familiar with. But let's say you had a full bonus or a high bonus, but then you drain. Instead of doing it like Gottlieb would, which would be to pulse the down count like 15 times or whatever, and that takes a long time, Williams has this little relay coil here, which when this goes in, it steps one of the pawls on this stepper away, and when this goes in, it lets it reset fully. So I'm going to step this back up, right? We're gaining bonus. And now if we were to hit this plunger here, the step down. So this is a special unit. We've talked about this before in EMs. This is a step up, step down, and a full reset at the same time. So we can step it up. This thing can also control it and step it down one at a time to score your bonuses one at a time. But if the game was drained and it needs to reset all the way, it will pull this relay in, and then when I hit the step down plunger one time, it zips back to 0. Right? So let's go to the back of the game just so people who haven't been here before kind of get EM stuff a little more. This is the Zodiac unit. So anyways, this looks like it's a step up, step down. So the game can step it up X amount of times, and then it can pulse this unit to full. Okay, so this is a step up full reset. It can only count up, and the only thing it can do after that is to go back to 0. This, which may be the ball count unit, will step up, and it can step down. Nope, that's a full reset also. Okay, I'm totally wrong. But there's only a few different kinds of steppers. You've got step up, step down, step up, full resets, continuous steppers. Your score reel is basically a continuous stepper. It can only move one direction and keep spinning that reel forward. Do we have any other steppers in here? Nah, we'll just have to look at another game sometime. But I'll make sure I try to point those things out just so you can get the nomenclature right on those units. Here's another hilarious thing. Williams used DC. Look at this gigantic bridge rectifier.
Oh, wow.
It's massive. So they would do like they would rectify the AC, and it just made the Williams games really unique because they had very zippy pop bumpers and kickers and coil flippers, etc. Due to this bridge rectifier here. So anyways, other than that, I mean, the game's just really dirty and greasy down here from a lot of use. I need to route some of these harnesses a little bit better. This game has a gigantic reset bank here. You do have to be careful around these reset banks. You see that giant red coil? You can barely see it due to the light.
Kind of. Is the light on?
Yeah, it is.
On the razor? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it's a lot brighter with my eyes as opposed to the camera, but that's a 110 volt coil.
Oh, yeah, we can see it.
So
I brightened up.
when the game is live, just be very
Huge.
careful. There is, basically wall voltage at the coil lugs there, so be careful. A lot of the time you don't have to do a ton of work on these bottom boards if you're just working on getting the game running. And again, my school of getting EM games running, electromechanical stuff running, is to work on it as necessary. Don't just jump in and mess with everything. This reset bank is basically designed to, I'm pretty sure they're just designed to go once a game. So at the beginning of a game, let me figure out how to get this playfield out of the way. One sec. Camera is going down once more.
Definitely. Thank you.
We're going to look at the guts of this thing, and I might do a teeny bit of work while we're here, but I'm actually quite pleased with the way that all of these steppers are stepping, etc. I might not be able to get this thing out of the way.
Oh my gosh, it's angled.
What?
Oh, like just the angle it was going in looked like it was shifted to the side. Pinball Gramp says, I realize there's probably a lot of unknowns, but how long do you think it's going to take for you to get it up and running? The question
I don't know.
of the hour.
It really depends on what happens when we start messing with it. But what I tell most of my customers
3 episodes.
with yeah, right. What I tell most of my customers is with electromechanical games, it's 99% labor. A lot of the times, like other than like cosmetic or wear parts like rubbers, maybe pop bumpers and flipper bats and such.
Break it back. I know.
You can. It's not a lot of parts like a solid state game would be, but a lot of the times, I mean, you're looking at, and like the way I work to get it to a standard where I don't have to muck with it again, I mean, you're looking at least 10 hours, probably, of work. Maybe less, 8 to 10 hours. A Gottlieb 4 player takes about 8 to 10 hours all the time, just because all the score reels need to come apart. On these Williams games, sometimes they can be a little easier because they're not as prone to being just mucked up from the get-go. But anywho, let's see things down here. We'll explain this, but I see this relay here is really burnt up. That's really, really normal. This is the lock relay. What this does is when the game turns on, this relay is basically on the entire time. And that generally it will just provide lights. It'll turn on all the light circuits or make things live. And that is really common for them to be really burnt up like this. This doesn't necessarily mean the coil is bad, but you can also see how this bobbin is broken down here, the plastic part of the coil. I would probably replace this just because it got hot enough to not only like burn the wrapper that bad, but it also has become so hot and brittle that it destroyed the bobbin. So that one would probably get replaced. This would be, sometimes they'll call this like a relay bank. Actually, look, it only has one screw, so we can kind of move it out of the way. So you've got all sorts of relays here that generally will trip like one time a game if you reach a certain feature or not. Or I guess since this is a 2-player, it might need to go once per player. So looking at some of the relays that are on this bank, we've got the Mars relay, the Venus relay. I don't know exactly what those do. I do see the game over relay here. The game over relay would never trip during a game until the last ball. But what it does is there are features in the game that would make some of these things
can you
trip.
turn off the light now, just so we can read that? I know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to keep up with the focus.
They're not that important. Like looking at the mechanics is more important. So there's coils down here, and when the armatures retract, when the coil goes in, sorry, it's hard to get your finger on them sometimes. When the armature pulls in, this thing will drop and it will change the state of this relay. The reason they're all on this bank and not just mounted to the bottom of the game like this is so they can be controlled. So you've got this gigantic 110 volt coil here, and once every ball, I guess, or once every time the player would change, this thing will pull in and it resets all 10 or 15 of them at the same time. So it just pulls in, and you've got this bar that kind of scissors and rotates up and resets all of those armature platters up at one time. But I think it is important to kind of like understand like the function of some of these things, like to figure out when and why they go. And it is kind of important to know that these only go like once per ball, is what I'm going to assume. And that is why they are all on a controlled bank like this, and not like an individual relay sitting on the board or something. Other bits of an EM, you've got your score motor here. That's the conductor for the entire operation. Anything that needs to score or pulse something multiple times will run the motor. So, you know, there might be a 500-point relay, or maybe not. Maybe when you score 500 points, if you score 500 points, it might lock a relay on somewhere down here. While that relay is on, it will run the motor, and there will be a switch on here that will go, in one rotation, it will hit 5 times. So that's why when you're playing an EM and you hear something going like da-da-da-da-da-da, that's the motor. So this is used to do some more complex calculations. This is a very, very normal spot for wires to break off on these Williams games as well. So, you know, do your due diligence to mess with it. Yeah, anyway, sorry, I'm just talking a lot. I'm just kind of looking.
Says, is that the slam tilt just laying there in the bottom?
Where? Yeah, there's one slam tilt here. This game has that slam tilt. There's probably another one on the coin door. There is right here. Some slam tilts are normally closed, and they function when the contact is broken. So don't just assume you know what you're doing because your Williams game or your Attack for Mars has it open. You know, this thing, it looks like it is designed to be run normally closed, and when this thing would open up, that would be considered a slam tilt. Gottlieb was the absolute worst about that, and they would change how they would do the slam tilt like every 4 years. So like some games would have normally closed, and then like arbitrarily they would have normally open ones again. It's a huge pain in the butt. Your schematic will tell you that sometimes, though.
Pinball Gramps asked a question too about, is there a register that tells you how many games have been played?
Yeah.
For like the operator from back then?
This game does actually have that meter. Let me make room and we can take a look-see.
Cool.
So you've got this guy here, the total play meter. The funny thing is, like, Gottlieb actually did a really fun thing. Gottlieb actually put a nice little light bulb here so you could just open the coin door, and when it's all dark, you could read the amount of plays. But it's kind of just like a, you know, it's like the odometer in your old car or something. There's a solenoid back here, and it looks like someone disconnected it for whatever reason. And, yeah. That would, every time a new game would start, part of the start sequence, whether it's on the motor or it's on the start relay or something like that, would pulse this coil one time and click up the total play meter.
What does it say? How many plays is it?
It says 2,675, but it's probably rolled over at least once. And that wasn't, you got to remember too, that wasn't there for the operator to pay attention to, you know, it was there for them to calculate how much money they're making, not, you know, how worn out their game is getting because people are using it. You don't go there and be like, oh no, it's got almost 30,000 plays, it's time to sell it. It's like, no, it's like in my book that I carry around when I'm doing collections, or, you know, my junior employee that drives around and does this stuff does. It said, you know, 2,400 last time, and then a month later it says 2,600. Okay, so it's got played 200 times, you move on.
Got you.
And that's how you
Game Club Central said, I have a question. Does Marco sell those cool headbands? What headbands? Planet's headbands?
I'm very confused.
My headband? Surely not. I was like, we need Marco headband swag. The one I'm wearing? No. Go to Walmart. They have them. $1.
That's awesome.
We should sell Marco headbands. You think people would wear headbands if we had the Marco logo on it?
I don't know,
And
man.
some other stuff?
I'm
Maybe
going to
some
be
flippers?
100%
Stern
honest.
has a really cool red headband. I don't have, but I'm usually wearing it. It has like flippers and pop bumpers and stuff like that you can get at the Stern shop.
You are like the only person I know that like confidently, amazingly rocks the bandana headband thing. I don't know if that's like.
I met Ryan Wanger this weekend.
Oh yeah, nice guy, comic guy.
And he wears headbands very confidently too.
Good man. Oh well, look, someone wants one, so there's two of you. So.
You want a Marco? All right, let's see if I can get in my swag budget.
Hey, if I'm going to Texas
Use it
this
like a
year,
mask.
we need to make sure we get some Marco Pogs because Scott is going to come with some Pinball Life Pogs, and we need to trade. So we need to get on that like tomorrow, or 2 days ago, really.
Pogs and headbands. Actually, I would like to do another order of Marco masks. Maybe not the same mask as we had last time. Maybe something with better coverage.
I think while we're here, hey, what time is it? Would you mind reading the clock for me?
Yep, it's 4 o'clock.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of go through here and start fixing little teeny things as I see them, such as resoldering some of these loose wires.
Cool. Read them out.
And that way, like, we will just be steps closer to possibly being able to turn the game on.
So the game doesn't turn on at all right now?
I'm not going to turn it on because...
So many loose wires that aren't connected, right?
Not really that so much. It's just like I don't care what it would do because it's not going to work anyways. So there's no point in me turning the game on until I'm pretty confident I know what condition the rest of the game is in. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, like, again, like I had a customer that just brought me his Surf Champ. I mean, I'm not going to turn it on until I've done, at least 2 or 3 hours worth of work to it because I know that needs to be done to begin with. It doesn't matter what it's doing now. It matters what I get it to do after I've worked on it. So with solid state games especially, you have to be more careful about those. If you have damage to power supplies or things like that, especially from neglect or games just sitting around for way too long, you can cause yourself a lot of headaches if you just turn a game on that you have no idea what's going on. If you went and pulled a game out of some dude's basement or his, or he or she or they or whatever, their storage unit, don't turn it on. Inspect a lot first because you will save yourself a lot of headaches if you have a really nasty power supply or something like that.
Nice. Great tip. Just as a side tangent, everyone drop in what type of Marco swag you would like to see this year in the chat. I will take notes. I'm going to be doing a big swag order like yesterday, so I would love to see what y'all would like.
So everyone, please just say Pogs.
Mask bandanas. Oh, and the, magnetic bottle opener that you can stick to your coin door.
Steve wants temporary tattoos.
Temporary tattoos. Flex fit hats? Really? I always go back and forth on the flex fit hats because not a whole lot of people like them. Especially if you have a bigger head. They're like so tight. Keychains.
Do you remember when everyone told us that koozies were a terrible idea? And then we got koozies and everyone loved it?
Koozies is the new thing.
Koozies are so rad.
I'm definitely taking all this. And Pinball Gramps, to respond to your question about the in-disc broadcast, they are going to repost all of those tournaments on YouTube, and it will officially cut to the award ceremonies that I was filming that we were unable to switch over during the broadcast. So apologize I apologize that you did not get to see that in real time, but we do have great footage of it.
So what was that? The award ceremonies for like the top players, you weren't able to switch to that stream? Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, good old OBS.
What?
Never let you down. Live streaming.
No,
Woo.
OBS rules. Streamlabs
No,
is...
let's talk to Carl. It was not fun.
Well, streaming...
But we do have it documented. It is historically documented, and it'll be great. Zach McCarthy, he's 16. He won the Open. That was the main big tournament. Keith Elwin won high stakes, of course. Got a lot of money in his pocket that weekend. And for classics, 1 and 2, Escher was the winner of one of them. And I believe Adam McKinney won classics match play. And then classics 1 was, off the top of my head, oh my gosh, Robert Byers, top rope pinball, macho pinball. He won't admit that he's macho, but we all know that he is.
Wait.
6,800 for high stakes.
Macho has
look, top
revealed
pinhead's
his...
in here.
Macho has revealed his identity?
Yeah, I'm talking about you. What?
Macho has revealed his identity?
No, Macho has not revealed his identity.
Oh, man,
But
I thought...
guess that it's top rope pinball. Oh, top pinhead. Sorry, I thought you were top rope pinball. Not the same person. Everyone's screen names just start melding.
I feel like...
Marco notepads. Yeah, I totally had this like long notepad design. So then when you're working on your game, you can kind of write the parts and stuff you need.
That's a great
as like
idea.
a shopping list. You guys like that? Okay.
Hey, what about those super sweet
Yes,
pens
I do.
that I love that I told you to get one time?
The G2 pens.
Yeah, the slickest
Like the one
writing
in my
pens
hand?
you've ever had.
I know. When I buy pens for a house, I get a very specific order for G2 pens. You need to buy more G2 pens. We all know Emoto's macho pinball. Shh.
Yeah, no, Emoto's
trying to
totally
change.
not macho pinball.
You don't know that.
Whenever we drive anywhere, she puts that podcast on and she's just like, isn't this so funny? It's like, little do you know it's me.
Mm-hmm.
Macho Emoto.
Yep. What is your solder preference, Kyle? A particular type of solder?
No,
brand
I
you
really
like to
don't
use?
care. Look, I used to buy solder at
Pint
Fry's
glasses.
Electronics at whatever I could get.
Posters.
Okay, but I do know I do like this brand, MG Chemicals. I used to be able to get this at Fry's Electronics. I'm using a smaller gauge right now, a 22 gauge solder, because I think for the last like 2 months I've been saying I need to order more solder, and I haven't, so I'm using the solder I have more of right now. Anyways, I prefer to use actually, okay, I guess I do have a preference. For most work, I like using a 20 gauge solder because it's thick and you don't have to keep feeding a ton of solder into stuff. This is leaded solder just because I've probably had this roll for 3, 4, 5 years. It's a little harder to get leaded solder now in stores. But I still wholeheartedly recommend people use a lead-free solder and just get used to using it. It's harder, but that's the way the world is going. But if I was going to buy solder, I definitely say spend a little bit more money and get the good stuff. I like Kester solder a lot, but Kester solder is very expensive. We're talking like $18 for a pound, but it will last you a very long time. Really quick while I'm back here, I'm just kind of like closing relays and just like watching for switches to kind of move. This is not very technical, but I do see one that's not moving, so I'm going to hit that really quick. What this will do is just
Hello, John Thurbin. Thanks for joining us.
it'll get us to a spot where when I do get in there and I need to start like actually troubleshooting, I'll at least know that like, hey, I've kind of looked at some of these relays already, but you know, don't discount them 100%.
When you get a free hand, can you tilt up the camera a little bit? And then can you remind us what temperatures you usually keep your soldering iron at?
I keep mine at 750 to 800, but that doesn't mean you have to. You should keep your soldering iron at a temperature that you're comfortable working at. I personally like keeping my soldering iron as hot as I can possibly stand it, so I do not have to keep the heat on the item unnecessarily long, if that makes sense.
So you just kind of tap it and go.
Well, not necessarily tap it and go, but just, keep it. I have to hold it on there less. So.
Lightsaber hot.
No. Well, actually, I guess I don't know because I don't know how
Rebel
hot a
dot
lightsaber
jinx.
is. So, my lube, my grease is in the car. I guess since I do have. I guess since it's only like 4 something, I'll go grab it. I don't think I'm going to take this apart. This is me part being lazy, but also like looking at how snappy and nice this unit is actually moving and stepping. I really don't think I'm going to get any benefit by taking apart and cleaning the actual stepper. What I will do though is I do need to adjust this. You can see that it's actually bent really badly, but I will lube it. Here, give me a sec. I'm going to try to get this.
How can you tell it's bent really badly? It looks the same as the other ones.
Well, but look where this is sitting on the rivet.
Oh.
Right? Do you see how
it's like sideways.
It's absolutely not centered.
Oh, wow. How does that happen?
Cletus. So, well, or just someone.
For those of you who don't know, Cletus is our generic name for spiders in the back box, but also the pinball tech that may not necessarily have a whole lot of experience and might make your job fixing a game a little bit harder because Cletus touched it before.
Emoto, that's a very diplomatic way of saying that.
No offense to actual Cletuses out there. If that is your real name, then let me know. I'll send you a Marco shirt.
Yeah, if there's anyone in here or ever...
You got to send me a picture of your ID, though.
Yeah. As long as I'm still alive and Emoto is still alive, if anyone ever watches any of these videos and can prove to us that your name is Cletus, I will feel really bad and we'll give you some sort of restitution.
No, Game Club Central, don't be a Cletus. You're above Cletus. Are you using sandpaper? Kaz is asking.
No, I'm hitting it with the Scotch Brite pad. I don't like these. I don't like the green ones because they're not. They like lose their.
Name is Cletus.
They lose their grit a lot faster than the purple ones. But I found a green one on the floor, so I have acquired it, and now I'm using it. So. But what we will do is I will put a little. I'm almost curious that. I'm going to see how many times this main spring is wrapped around this gear because it feels so snappy. It might be too many times. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so what Kyle's doing is spinning
it's only 3 times, so it's right.
The actual wire, right? Because we can't see what you're doing on that side, but I think it's pretty important.
Yeah, I'll show you the torsion spring on the other unit in just a second.
3, lucky number 3. Oh
So,
no, Pin Daddy's heading to City Hall right now to change his name to Cletus.
Yeah, but you have no idea what I'm going to send you, man. I'm probably just going to send you like a Marco keychain and like a sorry note. But I mean, if that makes you happy, then
sorry,
I'm really...
we ran out of your shirt size. Here's a keychain for your efforts.
So, I'm going to show you on this unit because it's closer.
Bullets are coming back, actually.
But it's a real common... not correct way to fix a stepper by when they start to gunk up and they don't move so well, what people will do is they will put more torsion on this torsion spring and they'll make it tighter. Tightening the spring is absolutely not the right way to fix the problem. Even though it might be a bit of a band-aid, it's not the right way to fix the problem. When you put more torsion on this spring, it makes it more difficult for the step-up coil to actually do its job. As the spring continues winding, it has to overcome more and more pressure to continue doing its job. This torsion spring here, its job is to unwind the entire unit when the let-go coil pulls in. So again, tightening this up more than necessary will help the thing reset, but it will absolutely impede this. The reason why they will work that way, though, is this is an extraordinarily strong coil, and this thing will pop down and step that thing real bad. But when this light little thing goes, it's all up to this spring to do the entire reset motion. So if you have your unit cleaned properly and it is degunked and denastified, generally 3 times is how many of these things are wrapped around. I don't know why. Every Gottlieb, every Bally, every Williams unit, from totally flaccid to wrapping it 1, 2, 3 times is exactly how many they all need to generally work when they're clean. I don't know if that's like proper, but like in my experience and the way I was taught, that's where you start. So
with the other one, you unwrapped it and then rewrapped it 3 times?
I did because it was like unnaturally like
tight?
No, it was unnaturally like snappy. It felt like so good that I couldn't believe that someone didn't like reset it already, if that makes sense. But they're just clean. Someone may have done this before. I can imagine Mark in his spare time maybe tinkered with this a little bit in the preparation for getting it going one day. So that's the story I'm going to stick to. But this one works too. I'm going to keep an eye on all of these fingers to really make sure that they ride and hit the bits of the circuit board they're supposed to. And then we can reset the unit, and it resets perfectly. There's a bit of gunk here though, so I will remove this and I'll clean this the right way. And then I'll go run outside really quick and grab my grease. To do this, you generally will need a screwdriver to hold the actual gear in place over here, because as you try to loosen, you'll need this just to, chock it in place. Because as you loosen this wheel, oh, it's not 3/8, 7/16. Hold on. It's going to want to spin backwards. So the screwdriver is going to help stabilize everything. Generally, I'll do this. I'll make sure that it's in the 100% reset position. They only go on one way. But you can get it 180 degrees off. You'll see what I mean in a second, but I'll usually start in the reset position. We'll break that sucker loose.
Thanks, Game Club Central, and welcome to the stream too, by the way. We just see you popped up today.
Awesome.
And that's Kyle working on machines. I'm Emoto, and our moderator in the chat and also in the studio is Steve Midget.
Yeah, check this out.
We call him Midge.
Look at that's Steve
Kyle
right there.
is excellent at teaching us. Where's
Hi, Steve? Bye, Steve.
Okay. Oh yeah, there he is.
You guys got your first behind-the-scene looks of this very clean
You broke the
warehouse
fourth wall.
building.
That made me nervous. It looks clean though. You did a good job so far. He was vacuuming this morning. It was great.
So I'm going to take the spider off.
Everyone was like, Steve!
You can see how, of course, we've got like a very,
oh, wow.
It's shaped
so
very
cool.
uniquely one way.
Yeah.
If we were to spin it 180 degrees, it would be totally off. But there's only 2 ways to put it on. Use your brain and remember which way it went on. Sometimes these spiders...
take pictures.
Sometimes, that's what I was going to say. Sometimes these spiders do have a very uniform look. And they might be absolutely uniform both sides, but just a little different. They might touch different bits of the circuit board. But what I'm doing, I'm just going to use my my brain, as little as left of it still, and I will just remember that all the crazy stuff goes on top and the single one goes on the bottom. So I'm going to clean this off. There are so many different ways to do this, and I'm not doing this with like a ton of elbow grease. I am doing this with just light motions to try to remove.
Is there anything on that sponge?
Nope. Totally clean. What we're trying to do is just remove some of the schmutz. So what I'm going to do though is another way to do this. And let's go this way. Hold on. I'm going to go get some alcohol or not alcohol. Don't laugh.
So you're going to put alcohol on it? I'm going to try to manually focus this.
I'm going to go try to find something that will probably give someone cancer somewhere. Here, denatured alcohol. That's fine. Paint thinner, mineral spirits, whatever you have, treat them, safely. Don't use them in an inappropriate manner.
Yeah, he just randomly found this sponge. So what's on it? We don't know. We don't really know.
So the way to do this, to do it really, really perfectly. Let's get rid of all
Okay, you're
this
using
schmutz and
denatured
electronics
alcohol
goop
right now.
by using, this is just denatured
With a cloth?
alcohol on a paper towel. And this
Paper
will
towel? Okay.
degrease it for us. These were greased from the factory using a very, very thin film. And whether that thin film started to collect a bunch of coil dust over the years, or someone has gone in and greased it again, I don't know. But we're going to clean that nasty grease off and see if we can get these to be nice and shiny. Again, we don't want to be too rough with
Thank you for the bits,
these.
Game Club Central. Kyle, you need to hydrate.
Okay, give me a
and
sec.
Colin and M. Guzman all demand it. And thank you, John Durbin, for the follow. Hey, I thought you already followed us.
Thank you.
Just kidding. Thank you.
Hey, so, okay, I am
It
going to be
tastes
having
nice.
some time to do some work here on the weekends. What do people, if I were to stream on Saturday versus a Sunday, what would people enjoy more? You know, like a midday kind of like couple hour thing? Would anyone come if I did it at, you know, noon on Saturday or something? Or is that too chory time?
So Saturday or Sunday, drop it in the chat. When would you rather watch more pinball repair streams with Kyle?
I got a lot of games to continue fixing, and I can do some more streaming in here because I've got some time scheduled to do service calls
two
here, not
Saturdays.
all over the state.
We got one Sunday. Ooh, groggy frog face. Another Saturday.
Sounds like
A
Saturday
poll?
might
Oh,
be the day.
yeah, man. How do I do that? Midge, drop a poll in there. We're just like, oh, look, I can add it.
We can just
Ooh.
do it impromptu
Flash.
because at the same time I probably might not even
can do
listen
this.
because I'll just do it when I have time, but it'll probably be Saturday, to be honest. I'm going to go grab my grease really quick, but I will also hydrate.
Sad. All right, I'm going to try this Twitch poll. If you're not on Twitch, come join us on Twitch. It's completely free. Sometimes we deal with buffering issues. That's not going to happen again because we're going to stream at a lower output. Right? I don't know. Then we lose that beautiful 1080p quality. But we'll do it for you. I'm going to drop in this poll. Settings. Duration. Oh. 10 minutes? This is our first poll ever. Let's see if this worked. Did that work? Did you guys get a poll thingy coming
Who has a
up?
poll?
There is a poll? No. That buffering hasn't been a problem before today? Yeah, that was really strange.
It's a Twitch problem. It's not our fault. I'm just going to blame it on them.
Not seeing a poll. I know. Where does this poll even go to? It says view results, end poll, delete poll.
Steve is furiously typing over there, so.
It's a pop-up. How did you find it? I can't even find it.
I'm getting the teeniest
It
bit
works?
of CV grease. Oh, it's
Ooh,
oily.
look, I can see the thingy go up and down. It's almost even, Kyle. I think you should just stream both days.
No. We'll do Saturday. Because that's basically a continuation of the
on
work
Sunday?
week. And then on Sundays,
Hello, Rilla Pinball. Thanks for joining.
I can hang out with my cats and...
Oh, it's at the top of the chat. Gotcha. Yeah, we should do polls more often. This is cool.
Can we do the betting thing?
Oh, Game Club Central, thank you. We're always trying to learn more with OBS and Twitch and widgets. Would love help.
Yeah, we need a lot
I
of it.
don't know what I need yet, but I will keep that in mind.
No, you know what we
The
need is
thingy went up and down.
we need something to alert us
More
when someone
Saturdays.
subscribes. That's what we need more than anything.
I will. I'll add you on Twitch.
Got some grease. Check out my finger. Look at that. Blech. We're going to...
Pinball Gramps, you see at the top of the chat is where it's supposed to be.
It's enough grease.
Nice, little grease. And what type of grease do you prefer to use?
Right now, I'm using just some CV axle grease. I haven't used it yet, but I bought some of Steve Young's at the Pinball Resources. It's just, he calls it just PBR grease, but apparently it's like the same grease that like Gottlieb and Williams and Bally used to recommend for this stuff back in the day. I think that both of them are totally fine and acceptable. This is what the guy I used to work for had been using for forever, and he told me that he also recently switched from using this CV axle grease to the PBR grease. I can just show you the bottle, but it's just Stay
put the
Lube.
bubble in there. Bottle. Oh, okay.
You can get it at like any good, auto parts store. So I've got, what I'm doing is I'm like slowly wiping away the excess, because seriously, less is better, less is more. You do not want a lot of grease on here. What we're just trying to do is just reduce that friction. What you'll see on games that have not been serviced is you'll actually see that these contact points have worn through the bits on the circuit board and have actually removed the metal. On some games, like Gottlieb games, which used rivets to get these little switch contacts and the actual stepper printed circuit, or not even printed, just the circuit board itself, they will create massive grooves in there, and it's just all bad. Okay, I just screwed up, and hold on.
Yeah, that's weird. I turned off the autofocus, and it's still like, hey, I'm on. There we go.
I don't know anything about lubricate stuff. I'm sure it's all fine. Just you don't use a lot of grease. That is
Daniel
the best.
Daniel says some CV axle grease has black graphite grease, and this is conductive.
I don't put that past you, and I don't claim to know what is actually the best or the proper solution. There are a bazillion different ways to do this, and you'll get a bunch of different opinions on how to do it. I'm just trying to tell you how I've done it, and that is also why we are using like the most minuscule, teeny amount of grease that we possibly can. We are just creating like a teeny bit of film over that circuit, so it does not.
My chair needs some grease. So Midge dropped in the chat our lubricate grease that we sell on our website. So if you're unsure if a grease is going to work, then that would be a great option for you to add to your cart.
Just don't get anything sticky. You need something that stays like viscous and lubey. There are a lot of greases out there that eventually will turn very sticky, and that is why I'm sure the lubricate stuff is great. I bet it's amazing. I've just never used it, but I do know that games that I've serviced with this grease.
You should use it on our show so it could be Kyle approved properly.
Well, but I better do it tomorrow then, because I'll need like 4 or 5 years to make sure that it doesn't get sticky. I know this stuff won't get sticky. I'm sure the lubricate stuff is fine as well.
Colin Baxter, no. Do not use any other type of grease except the ones that we say are good.
Yeah. No, you don't want to use other sorts of grease that I see you people posting about in the chat here. I'm sure you all are laughing in your computer chairs right now. Oh, I have made a funny. Okay.
What is bear grease, though?
I don't know.
I don't get that one. Is that a real thing?
Oh, really? So Steve is a mountain man and also derived from pirates, and he said that bear grease is actually from bear fat. And that makes sense. I mean, back in the day, right, bears and whales were hunted for their fat to be used for many sorts of things. Yeah, I would
go ahead and say don't use bear grease, because if that means more bears have to die for your greasing of pinball machines, it's just...
I agree with that, but also what about the environmental toll of using petroleum products such as CV axle grease? No, we
rough.
don't need to get into
Yeah.
that debate.
Should we
but I
make a
agree.
poll for that?
No.
I'm just kidding. Now that I know how to make polls.
What should we kill more of, the planet or bears? I think neither. Let's do neither. Okay, so I'm pretty stoked on that. I'm actually,
He says no.
for giggles, I mean, what time is it? No, we're going to wait till
I
next
think your
week.
poll says overall we got more votes for Saturday. So
Okay.
Saturday streams are the way to go.
Good, because no matter what you guys said, I was probably going to do it on Saturday anyway. So I'm glad that you aligned with my dictatorial thinking. I like Saturdays because then once I'm done here, where we're at is like 20 minutes away from where I live.
There's a
So
part of the thing.
it gives me some time to do shopping on Saturday, since in South Carolina, everything is closed on Sunday. So I think we're going to wait till next time to power it on.
Opie, no.
I think the next thing I might do when the cameras are off is I'm going to hit this thing with the vacuum and get
All
all
your
of the
streams are belong to us.
gross stuff out of here. I need to find a screw for this relay reset bank, but otherwise I don't see any reason we couldn't turn it on. But yeah, I think I just want to go through the cleaning bit first, probably replace the lock relay. I think actually there might be one more coil I need to solder in here, but I can do that later. But I think we're good.
So, Rebel Dog, again, I would advise using the lubricate grease, but I did pull up this grease that you do have already for
no,
Kyle to look at his screen
you can use
and say
Super
yes
Lube.
or no.
Yeah, I've used Super Lube before for this as well.
It says food grade, so that means you can eat it?
Probably. No,
Grease is
Super
so
Lube is
weird.
good stuff. Personally, I really like the liquid Super Lube in the like little dropper bottles. I think we sell them, Steve. If you could, we sell like
Oh,
the
the little
non.
dropper bottle ones are nice. I've seen you use it on the show before.
Yeah, it's not grease. It's actually like a liquid lube, and that stuff works really, really well. Just like a teeny bit, and put it on the pivot points of your spinner, and it will make these spinners spin forever. It rules.
Arthur Pendragon says our show is too technical. Maybe. If you hang out a little bit longer, then you can fix your pinball machines.
That's the
Or
point.
your friends' pinball
We're here.
machines.
We're here to
or
be
your
technical,
family's
my
pinball
friend.
machines. Save the pinball.
I have.
Stay out of the landfill.
I've wasted too many of my brain cells to remember how to
Thanks
fix
for
pinball
posting
machines,
that
so I'm
link.
here to teach you guys that too.
Shh. Yes, that is our Super Lube synth oil with Teflon.
But that's different. You don't want to use the oil for this. You want to use that for things that spin.
Yeah,
use it
I
on
know
spinners.
which one you were talking about. I was trying to.
Well, oil is going to do more dripping. It's going to catch more dirt. It's going to make more of a mess in this application. So you don't want to use that. You want to use grease. I'm just quickly cleaning these Jones plugs.
Gross stuff sounds too technical. Oh, yeah, you're right. Kyle is very technical with his terminology.
Sometimes.
Ooh, Old School EMs needs a schematic for Jungle Princess.
I may or may not have one for you. Just bug me on Discord and I can maybe make that happen.
And to get the paper copy, you could order it off our website.
Yes.
Thank you again, Midge, for putting that. Paper copies for schematics are always so much more handy than looking at your phone or your computer right next to it.
Yeah,
Something
no.
about having that big map just makes it so much easier.
You can't work on a game with a
cattywampus,
schematic
another
on your
technical
phone.
term on our show.
It is literally impossible. I'm going to put the playfield back in the game here.
Yeah, put it back in. We've missed that playfield. We saw it go away and we were so sad. Look how strong Kyle is. This is amazing.
No.
He just said no. No.
I'm just tall.
Why is this? There we go.
Is that do you
Turn it
is
on.
that
No, don't turn it on.
is that Jungle Princess for the Seattle Pinball Museum? Is that the one you said that Charlie dropped off for you, Old School EMs?
Man, I love that place. And I hope you pet Rocky. while you were there. Rocky, the Seattle Pinball Museum, Golden Retriever.
Because we should, if it's going to be for the Seattle Pinball Museum, then I can give you a preferred price on said schematic. So it will live on where it will be cared for and loved.
Roller Pinball, hey Roller Pinball, asked, how are those Jones plugs cleaned?
That's what I was just going to go over really quick. These ones aren't really bad. Someone's already done it because I can see someone rubbed way too hard and rubbed some of the plating off. You might not be able to see it on the camera, but it goes to like a very gold color instead of a silver color. So,
wait, so for the ignorant like me, where do those Jones plugs plug into? Where did that come from?
They're corresponding
It's just
plug in the game.
wiring to the playfield from the back box?
Yep. This one is for the playfield, so all of these connect to the bottom board.
It looks so crazy.
It's just an old plug. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Be gentle with them. They are made out of like Bakelite, and it is fragile and it can crack. So don't yank up on one side and like force it up. You can crack them. Go up and down both sides. So
Old School EM says it's not for Seattle Pinball Machine, by the way.
Oh, well, that's terrible. He needs to get that. It's the best game ever. Anyways, the way that I clean Jones plugs with hand tools and not like machine tools, I know that some people get like a Dremel and go like, meh, and that's cool.
Wow.
I just don't carry a Dremel with me. I will use the same handy dandy Scotch-Brite pad. And then you can just go like this and gently rub all of the nasty schmuck that might exist in between all of these plugs away. And sometimes that can clear up intermittent issues. These are here to send your electrical impulses and such everywhere on the playfield. So all of the lamps, the power. This is one of the 20 volt power goes through this plug here. Ground. You've got all sorts of voltages and signals that go through these. So if they're not clean, you will not have good connections, and that can cause you to go for a confusing ride while trying to work on the game. So it's just one of those.
Okay, Major. Major's working with RW99 to source some lubricate grease, right? Is there a difference between the 3 different lubricate greases?
I'm sure there is.
Okay. Well, dang.
These are nice.
Do we sell Jones plugs?
No.
Oh, wow. That would be crazy, right?
These are very, very outdated sorts of things, unfortunately.
So if I come across an old EM pinball machine and somehow the Jones plugs is broken, maybe one of those pins are broken off or whatever, what can I do, if anything?
Good luck. Beg someone who has a bunch of parts to pull one out of a game or something, but there's really, you could get creative.
You can't adapt to a different type of plug.
Yeah, you can.
Anything like that.
Giant pain in the butt, but yeah, it's easier just to try to find a donor piece, But
gotcha.
I mean, you can, but you don't. Generally, they just crack in half, unless the game catches on fire. I've never seen one that wasn't like salvageable, but generally they'll crack in half, and it'll be frustrating. But you can salvage them. They're very, very rugged connectors. Ugh. Yeah, all right, that rules. I'm going to keep wiggling these things here, and then I think I've done enough talking for the day. Look, I'm thinking a fun episode might also be, once I get this along, I don't think it's actually going to take much to get this game working, but I think it might be fun to do a compare and contrast versus a Williams electromechanical game versus a Gottlieb electromechanical game, since I'll have another one in here that needs a lot of work. We can kind of see the differences and how similar they all are. Just different approaches to how each manufacturer chose to do things.
Yeah, I really want to see it played too. Yeah, are there oh look, Old School EMs has tons of Jones plugs in a box. Hey, what if he sells them to us and then we sell them on our website so people can access them?
Nah,
Was Jones plugs like the plug of that era?
Yeah.
Across
all
all
games
the
will use a plug like
manufacturers?
that. I've got a big box of, I've got a couple of them too from games that I've scrapped. And they're handy to have, but I can honestly say that I've scrapped way more than I've ever used. I've never ever used one. So there's something to be said about that too. It's not a problem you'll encounter very often.
Oh,
Like the most common thing you'll have that's a giant pain in the ass around Jones plugs is when people don't realize that there is a plug there and they will cut all of the wires. That sucks. I've had customers, it's like, hey, let me tell you how to take the game apart because you don't want to do it with the head on. It's like, oh, I know how to do this. I know how to do this, no problem. And dude will come in and like he'll have cut, the wiring harness in the middle of the head and then unbolt the head and strap it down. And it's like, all right, Mr. Macho, I know how to do this.
No.
Like, here's another, $150 tacked onto your bill because now I have to spend an hour soldering and heat shrinking all this stuff together. So here's a pro tip in life, not even just about pinball. I'm not very old. I'm not very wise. But I have learned that if someone is offering me advice, to always listen. Whether you know it or not, just listen, because maybe you'll learn something. Yeah. Even if you do know it, you just say thank you. But just listen to people's advice that they're going to give you,
Absolutely.
Might save you a problem somewhere down the line. Anyways, or may help you win Jeopardy. Maybe someone will give you a cool fact, and then you can win Jeopardy. I sound like an old man now because we're talking about Jeopardy.
So everyone in the chat, this is kind of the ending of our show, the last 15 minutes. If you are working on your pinball machine and are stuck and want to ask an expert right here above me, feel free to drop your questions in the chat and we'll humor you as long as possible and hopefully help you get to the next step, the next phase in your nice shirt, Kyle, of the next, it's not Marco Pinball, but I still love it. It's still relevant. Pinball Pit. Yeah. So,
all my Marco shirts are dirty. Because my house almost burnt down. I couldn't do laundry because my 220 volt plug for my washer got really screwed up, and Eska was like, my wife was like, it smells kind of funny in the laundry room. I'm like, nah, it just kind of smells like bleach. We just bleached our sheets. So then I went in there and the dryer would only work for 2-3 minutes at a time. I was like, man, this smells really bad. So the next day I pulled my washer out and the dryer plug was melted. I was a few bad laundry loads to burning my house down. So I fixed it, but.
Good. I'm glad you know how to do that.
So that's why I don't have any clean clothes.
Question from APB Enterprises. He's stuck. Oh no. It's been restoring a safe cracker for almost 15 years. And the issue I have is I don't want to solder all the lights and switches.
Man, I'm going to tell you this sounds like a personal problem, but I tell you what. I'll have about 24 hours available in April while I'm in Chicago, Illinois. I will come to your house and I will solder for you, my friend.
Obi also dropped our Discord invite link in the chat. I'm sure that works. If you want to chat with everyone after hours and talk about pinball repair and more, feel free to join us on Discord. I need to turn my notifications back on and get on Discord. I miss y'all.
Yeah, you're never there.
It's been a minute. I'm never there. Well, because, I have no reason.
It's fun. It's fun because we talk about all sorts of stuff from pinball to other things, beer, cats, dogs, pets. Yeah. I've been really, really jealous because
Can you put Yopsicles in Safecracker?
No.
I'm just going to ask about every game.
Only old Bally games for now.
Oh, yeah.
And old Stern games.
You said that. Do I have any of those? No. All right, I'm dropping Aaron's director of sales email in the chat.
Steve already did.
Anyone that wants to talk to him, Midge is very fast, and I dropped in the alternate one, so there we go. Pinball Rub.
Steve's old school with that Marco spec domain.
We need a Marco fidget and a squishy. Oh, yeah, and some Marco slime, too.
Oh.
I would be totally down for that. I'm adding it to my list. Let her know that I will try my best, Kaz, to get at least one of those.
I'd be down with a fidget spinner.
We'll see.
I'm sure that there's just like warehouses full
I
of
just
fidget
found
spinners.
this one. It's one of the kids. I think a nephew left it, and I've just been playing with it during all my meetings. Bring it back. So yes, I could totally see a Marco logo on here.
Dude, for sure. I love fidgety things
It just
on
keeps
my
going.
desk.
It just keeps going. There's so much it's amazing.
That is amazing.
All right, hold on. I'm scrolling up because I think there was actually a real tech question. Oh, okay. Michael Solomon. Slingshot, random firing on a Ripley's.
Yeah, Steve answered that one right. Make sure
Rubber
that
too tight?
just take the slingshot plastic off and make sure that the switches are actually far enough apart so that when the rubber bounces back, it doesn't slap the switch stuck again, closed again, so then it will come back out. So.
Nice. Marco Pinball Cat Kickaroo.
Yeah, we need Marco cat toys because, let's be honest, like...
What's a kickaroo?
Just like a long cat toy so they can like grab it and then they kick it with their back feet because they love kicking stuff. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, wait, Dalton's here?
I know Kyle knows. Dalton.
What's up, Dalton? Oh, hey, Johnny Demonic. What's up, man? Oh, you raided right when we're ending our stream.
Oh, thank you. We were going to raid you. Now this is just awkward. Do a tap pass, Dalton says. Dalton is no longer known as Dalton. You may only refer to him as Denim Lightning, his pinball show name.
My dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. Dalton is probably he's definitely the best pinball player in the Southeast.
Thank you.
Potentially the best pinball player in the entire country. Perhaps Dalton might be the best pinball player in the Western Hemisphere. Dalton might even be the best pinball player in the Northern Hemisphere. It's crazy.
He's certainly my favorite.
This guy.
No offense to everyone else, but
Lightning.
if you met Dalton, then you would totally understand.
Yeah. Dude, I am I mean, not to brag, but I am the president of the Dalton fan club. You know, we come to every tournament.
I didn't vote for that.
It's because I created it. Dalton rules. He's got a fun stream too.
Oh, Lead Sandman's here too. Thanks for joining us. That's cool. Okay, real quick. Colin said bow and arrow yopsicles.
I don't think so.
Mitch said no, and then Colin was like, "What?"
I don't think it would still work, anyways.
So I just decided to throw it out there. Okay, Rilla Pinball.
What?
Kyle, I picked up a game this week you might be impressed with. Bally Black Belt.
Oh, hell yeah.
Including 2 extra playfields and 2 brand new ramps. Wow. Are you trying to sell it to Kyle? Let's build that on the show.
Yo,
Black Belt's great.
Can I buy one of those playfields? I don't have any money, but I'll make it happen somehow. That's cool.
That's the one where there's the guy standing in the middle of the playfield and you shoot the balls up to hit him in the crotch.
Yeah, it's got a flipper
and
that faces towards you. And there's a ramp that way. So when the ball comes around, you can hit that flipper, which flips it towards you, which hits the guy in the crotch. It rules. That's awesome, man.
We're not going to wait an hour for you to go live. So you should go live now.
Yeah, that's right. Come on, Dalton.
And then we'll rate you. If you don't go live in the next 8 minutes, chances are we will not rate you.
I should play my Twilight Zone tonight and see if I can get better scores than Dalton.
Black belt, hit below the belt. Yeah, you think so?
No,
I don't think so. You think you could get better scores than Dalton?
I said I can try to get better scores than Dalton, but I don't think that'll happen.
Ooh, okay, here's a fun one. K-Dog, Kyle Caution, banana flipper rubbers. Should they be tight and go down to the bottom of the flip, or go down to the bottom of the flipper?
No, they're kind of loose.
Should they be tight and go down to the bottom of the flipper?
No,
so
they don't go all the way down.
hanging?
And I also, I'm assuming you bought them from us, Colin, but they're, I know Mark had that mold made because people were bugging him for banana flipper rubbers for a long time. So as far as I know, they aren't super tight and they don't go down to the bottom. But then again, these are reproductions, but they're also the only ones you'll ever get. So they work fine and they're good. So don't worry about it. You got this, man.
Ooh. Obi, thank you so much for gifting those subs. You are our hero.
You are the hero. Thanks, man. I should log in so I can get a gifted subscription to the Twitch channel that I do stuff on.
Don't waste it on him.
Yeah, don't waste it on me.
Barry asks on Facebook, any chance you would show going through the whodunit slot machine reels?
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, Barry, bring us your whodunit, and I will gladly go through it and show everyone. I love that game
so much. It's on my top 10 want to buy list.
It's such a good game. Yeah, I don't have a whodunit, and no one around here has a whodunit. So unfortunately, I will not be able to do that unless I get a whodunit. That is one of my favorite games, though. I think that was, even though it produced some kind of, that era of games produced a lot of bad pinball games, right? At pinball as we know it. No, listen. Champion Pub is not a good pinball game. It's a great game, but it's not a great pinball game, right? When we play pinball, we're talking about jackpots and loops and multi-balls and stuff like that. But Champion Pub is incredible because it is so unique, but still uses the framework of pinball. Whodunit is a game that people have been sleeping on forever, right? It's such a good pinball game, and it's got a fun story to it too. So I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, that was actually one of the games that made me cognitively realize that there are storylines in games and there's actual objectives that I can understand.
Yeah, I've always really liked that game was so quotable. I can't remember anything it says now, but we used to, when we had the Oakland Pinball Warriors, TJ, we used to play that game at TJ's all the time. And I don't know, it was just always made me laugh. And then he put it at the coffee shop next to my house when I lived in California. And every morning I'd go play some whodunit just because it would make me laugh.
Yeah, for
sure. I love that game. Daniel says that he played whodunit in Spain in 2010 and he broke it. Good job. I love that game, though. Hey, if anyone in wait, does Portal Pinball have a whodunit?
No.
Brian's got all the good stuff.
Unless it's new. Brian does have a huge collection that he swaps out on the floor. I'm not sure if he's picked up. He's been getting a lot of games lately too because Portal Pinball is working on expanding. Just super exciting. They're gonna have couches there in their arcade.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna just sit back on the couch, watch everyone play pinball. It's gonna be great.
Dalton, are there any?
Dalton will be there. I'll just watch Dalton play.
Dalton, are there any whodunits in the Georgia, Atlanta area? Yeah, who's making the ramps for whodunit? I think, is it Starship Fantasy or I don't remember who made them, but.
Oh, they're making ramps for whodunit. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think whodunit. How many motors does whodunit have? Does it have 4 motors? It has 1 motor per. One of my favorite trivia questions is what is the WPC game with the most motors? And no one can ever get it because it's really weird. But the whodunit, I think, is a solid second runner-up that I did not think. And I think it has only 3 motors, though. The game that has the most motors is 4 motors. And if someone can name it while we're in the chat.
He's in the chat. Yeah, it says Planetary just did the center ramp injection molded. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Jody. What's up, man?
Kyle done it.
I don't know what I've done.
Kyle did it.
I've done a lot of talking today, that's for sure. Cactus Canyon
This
does
is great.
not have... Cactus Canyon only has one motor for the train, I think. But it doesn't have. It definitely doesn't have as many motors as the game with the most motors. I think.
Pinball Gramps says, other than virtual tables, is there such a thing as being able to log in somewhere and play an actual pin?
Wasn't there that?
Can't you still play Batman 66 on Twitch?
Yeah, there's still a game. I think there's a game you can play on Twitch.
And that's, gosh, where is that game? Somewhere in Europe. At the top of my tongue. And they actually have this unit hooked up to the flippers of a real life Batman 66, and you play it on your keyboard and it flips the game in real time. Well, real time over there, and then you can watch it on Twitch too, which is amazing. Is this still up? No.
Fire
Surely
doesn't
not
have 4
anymore.
motors.
Maybe it'll come back.
I think Fire only has 3 motors, Daniel. Hold on, there's a Fire right there. Let me just go look. But I'm talking about
There's
a
a fire.
WPC game.
You shouldn't say that.
We're
so
only
lightly.
doing WPC games.
That scared me. Sweden, yeah. It was, I think, right? I don't see it on here anymore, though. That's so sad.
No, he's right. No, Daniel's right. So that
Daniel,
could,
you are right.
but that could be the System 11 game with the most motors. But what is the WPC
trivia.
game with the most motors?
Kyle Pinball Voodoo Doll? Oh, no.
Oh God,
That's terrible.
I don't know if
Fix
I
my machine, doll. You
poke
throw
me.
it in the cab.
The
Batman 66 is no longer
I'd be
online.
really
Yeah, I
scared of
see
a
that.
voodoo doll. Maybe I should shave my hair off so no one can take a part of me to make a voodoo doll.
So, Kyle, let's talk about next week. We kind of talked off the show a little bit about what we want to do, but I feel like we should stick with planets.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Absolutely. We can probably make it work
What do you
tomorrow.
think you're going to do as far as pulling out a stepper unit? Or what would be your next step on this repair?
We're going to try to get it to start a game, and then play a game, and then end a game. I think it's about time.
So you're going to turn it on? So before Thursday, we're going to solder all those wires that are just dangling?
I did most
Would
of
you
them
do that
today.
before you start it?
I think there's
Before you turn it
I
on?
would do that before we started. I think there's one wire that I still need to do. I want to replace the lock coil because it's toasty, and but yeah, I think next time I'd like to try to get it working and see what we can do. I'd like to get the game working and then do the cosmetic stuff because once I know it's working, then I'm okay to take it apart. Clean it, replace the rubbers, replace the lamps as necessary, and then tune it in for function, make sure it plays good, and then go deliver it to Nancy.
Oh, I can't wait. Maybe she'll let us film it. Nancy's in the chat like, no.
Yeah, she's going to text me right now and say, no.
No. But that's great. That's awesome that it's almost done. And it'll be cool next week to see it turn on.
Well, we'll see what we get,
Or
though.
try to turn it on, and then if we can't get it on, now it's the process of, how to figure it out.
Troubleshooting and potentially maybe calling our friend David Valansky to articulately put into words and visuals what our problem with the actual game is,
Thanks, Midge, for posting that link for Christopher on Facebook. Hopefully you're able to click that link, Christopher.
No, okay, hold on here. We've got Kung Shu is actually taking my my trivia really seriously. So yes, Kung Shu, Adam's Family has 2. Dog Soccer has 2 motors. So Adam's Family has a motor for Thing and for the bookcase. Dog Soccer has one for the spinning ball and for the goalie. But we're just talking about WPC games, right? So games from Funhouse, like all the way until Cactus Canyon. And there's one that you would just be like, you're just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. We already know one that has a good amount, right? Whodunit has 3. I'm pretty sure Whodunit has 3, but there is a game that has more than 3 motors. This one always stumps
I know
people.
this
I love it.
because you've used this trivia question before.
So when Chris and I would go do service calls like really far away, and he'd take me because it was like a 10 pinball machine, 2-dude service call.
Ask Google.
For just hours, we would. Okay, who said Roadshow?
Rilla guessed Roadshow.
Yeah, Rilla's right. Roadshow has 4 motors.
Red and Ted's Roadshow.
Yeah, so 1 motor for Red's jaw, 1 motor for Ted's jaw,
Right.
1 motor for the bulldozer, and it has a shaker motor. So that's 4 motors.
Pinball Gramps trolling Kyle. One would think that the beer would have killed all those brain cells that hold information at some point.
No, I think the beer and filling my brain with all this dumb pinball knowledge and trivia has made me forget like actual important things. Like I have to think about the day my wife's birthday is. I probably could not tell you about so many important events of my childhood or formative moments of living my human life.
Yeah,
because I filled it up with stupid crap like how many motors does Roadshow have? So here's my problem. But yeah, Pat Lawler and his nightmare fuel. Yeah, right, my man. But yeah, I think that's interesting though because I never thought about Fire having 4 motors. Yeah, it's the shaker. Fire has 1 motor for the burning tube in the center. Fire has 1 motor for the up-down ramp, and then the Champagne edition has 2 spinny tubes in the back to make the back glass look like it's on fire. So it also has 4 motors. It's funny though because like very soon after that, like if you look at the flyer for Tales of the Arabian Nights, Williams brags like low maintenance game. It has 0 motors to maintain. It's like they went from these super extravagant, right? Because Theater of Magic was a pain in everyone's butt. That game never worked right. This motor for the motor and the opto board and the Hall effect sensor for the trunk is always such a pain in the butt, and operators hated it because the thing never worked right. So very soon after that, it was just like, hey, there's no motors. Don't worry about it. Anyways, that's like fun. Emoto and I were talking about that. Where she was like, oh, in the flyer for Zodiac, it said that this is going to be like the greatest earning game ever. And I was like, yeah, but it's like all the flyers say that. She's like, I know.
Yeah, it's the greatest on-location game. It's going to make you so much money.
And that's, again, that's like, but you have to remember, like, that's what these things were for. And now you look at these great flyers that Stern puts out, or any of the contemporary companies, and they're like, look at all the cool stuff this game does. As opposed to, it's going to make you rich. You're going to be able to buy that sweet Corvette,
Yeah.
F-14 has 1 motor for all 3 domes. Yeah.
Whoa. That was weird.
F-14 is pretty reliable. You just have to turn the YAG off.
But who said that?
That was Dr. Curly Tech.
Dr. Curly Tech needs, like, can we give him, like, a high five through Twitch? That's a really funny one. Oh, my God. That's my favorite shot in that game. I used to hate it because I could never react fast enough, but now I just enjoy it so much. Sopranos has 1 motor for all 3 strippers. Yep. Hey, remember, that game was made in, like, 2007. Everyone was broke, man. Or earlier than that, but I don't know. I don't know, Rebel Dog. I disagree. The new games do make money. It just takes a long time to earn it back, just since they are so expensive. My Deadpool has just about paid itself off in 1 year of being on location at a good location. It's almost there. That being said, it just is a steeper hill to climb, But that's also why I enjoy operating the old games, Even non-pinheads really appreciate the old stuff because if there's no pinball to play, they're going to play whatever's there. And whether that is a Godzilla or a Viking. People are still going to enjoy it no matter what. So I just prefer, I really like old games. They make me happy. New games make me happy in a different way because they frustrate me and they make me want to be better. All games really should be $2 a game. Let's be honest, what can you actually buy for $1? Can you go to the grocery store and buy a Snickers bar for $1? No. So in reality, pinball is way behind in its pricing scheme. And I think the problem is because maybe as Americans, we don't have any good form of currency to do $2, you know, or $1.50 or something. If we had dollar coins, you know, maybe dropping 2 coins into a slot to get a free a single game or something like that. But it's I think when things start going more touchless, or not touchless, but rather like card-based, you know, like family entertainment centers and stuff like that. That's when we'll start seeing $1.50, $2 a game. Which, let's be honest, like they need to be that much. So. Even though it sucks, I don't want to pay $2, but at the end of the day, if it helps pinball continue existing in the public instead of people's basements, then I'm willing to pay $2. So, okay, now see, but that's the other thing, right? Like, but that's also why pinball has failed so many times, because no one takes care of their crap. Someone goes and puts $1 in it, it doesn't work, and then no one plays it ever again. So it is a double-edged sword. Thankfully, even though the internet is up in arms about this is why these new Stern games are just so fantastic, because they do not break in the same way that old games break. My Deadpool has broken because people play it so much that the flipper parts have destroyed themselves multiple times in the last year. I have not had a single failure with that game otherwise, right? So that being said, about older equipment, or equipment even when it was new, you know, just a decade or so ago, you couldn't say the same thing.
Nice. Well, any last final sign-off words before we go ahead and raid Mystery Pinball Theater 3000, who's playing a Deadpool Premium at Free Gold Watch?
What's he playing?
Deadpool Premium. Nice. Yeah, it's pretty cool, right?
He needs to stop playing just the new Stern games. I gotta have a word with Manu. He needs to go play some of the weird stuff that's there. Okay, this is interesting. So Daniel says in Croatia, pinball is 70 cents, 70 euro cents, or 5 kuna in Croatian currency. Interesting.
Kuna is 76 cents.
American?
Yeah.
Huh. So pinball is still about 75 cents in Croatia. That seems to make sense, though. I mean, just because, I mean, what, the economy is not at the same level as like a lot of Western Europe is, but I mean, when I was in Germany last time, most of the pinball I played was €1. Some of them were actually €1.50, but they all had good super value at, you know, multiple, I think it was like 4 games for €3 or something like that, or maybe it might have been better, I don't remember. But I think it was a Medieval Madness that I remember having a great value on. That was fun. That was a weird bar. It had a fake tree inside, like a huge one that went into the ceiling. And there was an old guy that was sitting on a stool playing Medieval Madness, and then he wanted to play with me, and I thought it was very entertaining. So anyways, yeah. Maybe next time we should start this discussion. I'm curious because we did have someone from Australia in here earlier. I'd be curious what pinball's priced at in Australia as well. I know in Australia, it's just everything is a lot more expensive. So I'd be curious if like street level operators were charging, what they'd be charging equivalent to USD. $2 so $2, what's $2 Australian? Is that like $1.50 US or $1.25? The exchange rate's goofy. $1.43. Yeah, okay, 60. So it's almost $1.50. Interesting. And is that, really quick, Dr. Curly Tech, is that common for like like all street locations? Like if you went to like a bar, I mean, in your place, wherever you live, do you have like a pinball centered place, like a bar with a lot of games? Like, do the pricings differentiate between like, you know, the bowling alley versus like cool pinball place? Or I mean, it's like, look, even as a pinball player, I will die on the hill that pinball does need to cost more money right now just because it's so expensive otherwise. I mean, it sucks, but in reality, it needs to. It's been the same price for almost 20-something years. Dr. Curley Tech says, not at all, depends on the state as well. Up north in Brisbane and Queensland, they try for more $1 a game. Interesting. But in Victoria, it's almost always $2. 3 for $5. Does Victoria have like a high tourist concentration, or is Victoria a little more wealthy than those other states? That's interesting. Anyways, I'm sorry. It's like way after 5, isn't it? Both of them are like nodding at me, like shaking their heads like, oh,
I know, we got to go back to work. You get to go home. We got to go back to work. So.
Okay, fine.
Bat Out of Hell by Meatloaf. Thanks for joining late.
Yeah, they're just in the stream now.
Go ahead and raid Mystery Pinball Theater.
Yeah, okay, let's go raid. Okay, let's try to convert this, let's try to continue this conversation with other international peoples. I'm curious. I know that Canada kind of has the same price as us, so it's interesting about Australia. Yeah, join our Discord so we can talk about international monetary values and
exactly.
What you can buy for $1, you know, in your country. So I tell you what, I can't buy anything here for $1.
All right, are you ready to do
everybody.
This? All right, thank you, everyone. We will see you next week for more planets. We'll try to turn her on and get her all fired up.
Yeah, see if it catches on fire. I'll make sure we have a fire extinguisher.
All right. See you all, and happy Valentine's Day. All that good stuff.
When's that?
That's in Monday. So days. You go better buy your wife a gift.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God. I am a gift.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, that's going to work out well. All right.